Hi everybody, thank you for joining us. My name is Adam Saprasky. I'm the broker for Cardinal Realty Group. I'm also a real estate attorney in Florida. I specialize in real estate law and real estate transactions. Today we will be doing the exclusive right of sale listing agreement for transaction brokers. Just to jump right in, we will start here. You can see the first line, as you can kind of start seeing a theme here. The first line are always going to be the parties involved. So we have the seller as one of the parties, right? And the seller, we'll call him John Doe. And the broker will be my brokerage, Cardinal Realty Group. In this hypothetical situation, I will be the listing agent. Cardinal Realty Group, LLC. Okay, and going down to the next section, this will be the dates of this agreement. So when is this agreement effective? From what date to what date are we going to have this listing? Okay, so today's date, if I was getting the listing today, is October 22nd. Okay. And we are going to make this listing for 6 months. Okay, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months from now is April 22nd. Okay, guys, so this is a 6-month exclusive right of sale listing agreement. Should be enough time, hopefully, for you guys to get your property sold. And moving down here, we're going to put the street address, as you can see here under the Section 2 property description. Street address, our address that we've been using in our hypothetical examples so far is 123 Main Street, number 2105, Miami, Florida, 33162, right? And if we want to be very technical, there's actually supposed to be a comma there. Going down, you have the legal description next. We will do in another video after this, we will cover how to obtain the legal description from public records. Okay, so for now, just for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to write legal description goes here. Okay, and then you have personal property, including appliances. If there was only a few appliances that was going to be included in the sale, you would list them in this line here: oven, range, microwave, refrigerator. Oh, that's a tough one. You know, so this is the type of stuff that you would actually include here. I actually like to not put anything here, and I like to just click this little button right here, see attachment, and I type in Exhibit A. And what you're going to do is you're gonna actually take another piece of paper that you're gonna include with this contract. On the top, you're going to write, you can even just handwrite it, Exhibit A, all right, right on top. You're going to, just like I have it written here under C attachment, Exhibit A, write that on top, and then just make a list of all the appliances that are going to be included in the sale. And the reason that you want this is because you're going to be representing the property to potential buyers now, right? You're going to take this, you're going to say, hey, now I want to go sell this property. Right? I need to know about the property if I'm going to sell the property. What's actually included? Does the seller want to keep that sofa? Or is that coming with the sale of the property? So these are things we need to know. Moving down, very important, occupancy, Section C here, occupancy. Is the property currently leased? Is there a tenant currently of the property? Hopefully, if you're selling a property, you know, it will be vacant. It makes it a little bit easier to sell most of the time. So for our hypothetical here, we're going to click is not currently occupied by a tenant, because that is the type of listing that I would personally hope for. Okay, and the price, we are going to list this apartment for this condo for $500,000. Okay, this is going to be the list price. This doesn't mean this is the price that is going to be the final price. This is simply the price that we are going to market the property at. We're going to go on MLS, we're going to list the property, and we're going to ask $500,000. Now, I'm sure some people will make offers and will come in a little bit under $500,000, and you know, my client John Doe may just accept it. Okay, So we're going to move on here down to financing terms. And once again, these are things that you need to know if you're going to help somebody sell their property. Are they only accepting cash? Are they accepting conventional mortgages? Are they accepting VA mortgages? Are they accepting FHA mortgages? These are things that you need to know the seller wants when moving forward to sell their property. Okay, so some sellers will say, you know what? I only want cash. If someone's not making an offer in cash, I'm not interested. Cash only. Some sellers will say, hey, I'll take cash and conventional. I think that's a little bit more typical. Once again, there's nothing set in stone here. This is all negotiable, and this will vary from client to client. So moving down here, you see there's actually a little box here that says seller financing. Some sellers would prefer to seller finance their property, right? They want to give the mortgage on the property. Hey, I'll sell you my house and I'll loan you the money for it. You can pay me over time, and if you don't pay me, I'm going to foreclose on your property and take it back. Okay, so that's another video, but just know that this is the box that you would check if the seller wants to do seller financing. Okay, and it will tell, and this is how much they are willing to finance. The seller in this situation would be willing to finance 80% of the purchase price, so $400,000. Moving down, this isn't. Is there a mortgage on the property? Is there a mortgage on the property? May the buyer assume the mortgage? You don't see that often anymore. So because of that reason, I'm actually not going to check this box. But just know that would be the box that you would check if there was an assumable mortgage on the property. And then we're going to move down. Seller expenses. Seller will pay mortgage discount or other closing costs not to exceed blank % of the purchase price. Sometimes you will see sellers give seller concessions. Seller is willing to give up to 2% of the purchase price towards closing costs. This is to make the deal more attractive to potential buyers. It's kind of like a promotion, but unfortunately, you don't see it that often anymore. So I'm actually going to put 0 here. Once again, this isn't necessarily typical of everyone's clients. These are just typical of the clients that I've dealt with in the past. Moving down, we're getting to this section here about the multiple listing service, right? This is just kind of giving a little description about what the MLS is. And now section 6, broker authority, seller authorizes broker to. And this is just going to say seller authorizes the broker to display the property on the internet, market the property, put it on MLS, and if they don't want the address of their property on the internet, you would check this box right here, display the property on the internet except the street address. Okay, I don't recommend anyone does that. You want to put the address out there. Really helps you sell. The more exposure you can get, the easier it is to sell, at least in my own experience. And this is kind of weird, I always thought. Right here, this is just in case the seller does not want you to put the property on MLS or anywhere besides your own inner office brokerage. So if that was the case, you would check off this box, right? And it's so weird, in my opinion, that they want the seller to initial right down here, this line right here under initial of seller, because it's just a disclaimer that's saying, seller, I hope you know we are not going to put this property on MLS. The only people that are going to see this property are the people in my office. Okay, so hopefully we will not be checking that box, because that will make our lives a lot harder to sell. And then this is interesting here, line 68, check if applicable. Depending on the property, you're going to be using a lockbox system to show and access the property. a lot of the times if you see more high-end luxury properties, you probably won't be putting a lockbox. You'll probably be doing the showings yourself, or you know, in person. There will be some person there meeting the potential buyers with the buyer's agent to show the property. Some properties that are not so high-end, you will be using a lockbox. A lockbox is just a box that you tie to the door of a property. It has a code on it, and you can give that code to potential buyer's agents to access the property and show their clients. I recommend that everyone use a Supra lockbox. I'm not going to get into what that is, but it is much safer and more secure. Anyways, moving down, we will, since this is a $500,000 condo in a very secure building that does allow lockbox systems, we're actually going to check this box. Use a lockbox system right here, right? We're going to use a lockbox, and to be honest with you guys, it makes your life a lot easier, right? If you just have to put a lockbox on a door and other people then go show your property for you and you never even have to go there, well, hey, sign me up, okay? Anyways, moving down. This box right here on line 72, this is if the seller wants you to withhold verbal offers. Sometimes you will get an offer over the phone, someone will offer you money, and you know, it's a verbal offer, so it's not exactly written. Some sellers won't take that as seriously, and they'll say, hey, look, if it's not in writing, don't even tell me about it, okay? And if that's the case, you want to go ahead and check off this box right here on line 72. And if the seller has already accepted an offer and doesn't want to hear about any other offers on the property, you're going to also go ahead and check off this box here on line 72. Moving down here, the next thing, this is an interesting section, section G, virtual office websites, VOWs. Okay, a lot of, and we're in the year 2020. Things are very modern now. A lot of real estate brokerages have websites where they'll list their properties, not just on MLS, but on their own website, and people can go on and actually comment on it, or just pretty much make comments on it. So if the seller does not want his property on your website, okay, you're going to click these boxes down here. This one says, seller does not authorize an automated estimate of the market value of the listing. Okay, so sometimes you'll see like Zillow has Zestimates. Okay, so this is the kind of thing that the seller does not want on the internet. I'm not saying a specific lease estimate, but no automated estimates of the property. Okay, and if that's the case, you would check off this box here, all right on line 80. Okay, and then here on line 82, it says seller does not authorize third parties to write comments or reviews about the listing of the property. Okay, so this would be kind of like a blog, a little blog under, a little comment section for properties. Some sellers don't want anyone commenting on their property. So if that's the case, go ahead and check off this box here on line 82. Moving on, we're almost done. Section 7, seller obligations. This is just going through a list of the obligations of the seller. You guys can read it on your own time. I'm going to jump down to line 101 and 102. Line 101 line 102 is where the seller is going to make any disclosures to you as their agent about any material defects that may affect the value of the property. Okay, some things only the seller knows. The seller lives there, so he knows the house really well. And these are things that might not be visible to the naked eye. Okay, these are things that might be behind the wall, leaks that may have been repaired, but there is still some damage that no one can really see, but the seller happens to know about. Okay, these are called latent defects, and it's the seller's legal obligation to disclose these latent defects to any potential buyer. And as their agent, you need to know about these defects, and if there are any, this is where the seller is going to tell you about them, right? So we're just going to put leaky roof, Leaky roof, that's a big one. That's a big one. It's very important. That could really affect the value of the property. And as an agent of a person with a leaky roof, I need to know that so I can inform potential buyers. Anyways, moving down, hopefully you're not buying any properties with leaky roofs. I have a friend who just did and it didn't work out great. We're moving down to the compensation section. This is very important. You guys want to get paid. Everybody wants to get paid. We don't work for free, right? So typically where I live in South Florida, typically you'll see 6% commission being charged to the seller. Okay, so the seller's going to pay 6% of the total purchase price plus X amount of dollars or X amount of dollars. I work in percentages. I don't actually fill these sections in. If you'd like to, and this is something you'd like to negotiate with your client, by all means, go ahead. But I just charge 6%. Okay, and this might be this dollar amount might be a transaction fee. Sometimes you see transaction fees or some other fees. This is where you would put that here. Okay, and then going down to line 112B. Well, let's say you list this property, okay, and somebody comes in and they don't make an offer to purchase the property, but they make an offer for an option to purchase the property at some later date in the future. We're not going to go over options right now. Could be very complicated. We will cover that in a different video lesson. But just hypothetically speaking, if somebody did come in and purchase an option to purchase, which is most likely going to be a lot less than the purchase price, you will take either a dollar amount or a percentage of that option, right? And if later on in the future that option is exercised and the client ends up actually purchasing that property, you will get the 6% that we put up here in line 109 minus whatever number we put here in line 112. Okay, so that commission you're going to make on the option will get deducted from the commission of the purchase price later down the road if the option is ever exercised. Okay, so we'll just say $2,500. I honestly, I'm guessing. I don't know the proper number to put here, and it's all negotiable. So I'm charging $2,500. And let's say somebody comes and actually says, I don't want to purchase this property. I actually want to lease the property. Well, you want to make sure you're covered for that as well. So the typical lease commission in South Florida is 10% of the gross value of the lease. So we are going to put 10% here on line 115. Okay, so I hope that was good for everybody. And we're going to move down here. Line 122, right here. This thing that I'm highlighting right now. If within blank days after termination date, okay, seller transfers or contracts to transfer the property or any interest in the property to any prospects with whom seller, broker, or any real estate licensee communicated regarding the property before termination date. Okay, so let's say you have the listing, you show it to a potential buyer, they say, you know what, I'm not interested. Then your listing expires and they come back to the seller and say, you know what, I really am interested. I want to purchase the property. Well, this is going to be your protection period. Okay, so typically I put a 180-day, roughly 6-month protection period. Okay, so if after my listing expires, within that 6 months after my listing expires, somebody that I showed the property to comes back and actually purchases the property, I will be covered. I will still get my commission in that scenario. Okay, so 180 days I think is a fair number to put. And then going down to line 127, retained deposits. As consideration for broker's services, broker is entitled to receive what blank percent of all deposits that seller retains as liquidated damages for a buyer's default in a transaction. Okay, guys, if the buyer defaults and the seller keeps that escrow deposit, though they don't get to keep the whole thing. The agent needs to get paid too. And we're gonna put 50%. I'm taking half. I'm taking half of that deposit. And hopefully, my client will agree to that, okay? And I think it's fair. Okay, moving down, this is interesting. Section 9, cooperation with and compensation to other brokers. Okay, so this is just putting the seller on notice. This is saying to the seller, hey seller, as your listing agent, I want you to know I'm going to advertise this property online on MLS. There's going to be other brokers, other agents from other brokerages showing your property to their clients, okay? And if one of their clients ends up purchasing the property, well, you know what? I'm going to split my commission with them, or I'm going to give them a certain percentage of the commission that you've already agreed to give me, okay? So I think it's fair that if I'm getting 6%, okay, and if someone else brings a buyer, I'm going to give them 3%. And not just because it's fair, because I want them to actually show my property, okay? And we'll get into that another time, but don't be greedy is the main lesson here, and put 3%, right? So just go ahead and fill it in. Like I said, I like to work in percentages. I don't fill in these dollar places here. We will just be putting here, check off all the boxes, okay? I'm not going to explain them right now, but just if you want to make your life easier and sell the property, just check these boxes and put 3%, okay? All right, and do not check this box, right? Because look in the parentheses, it says if this is checked, the property cannot be placed in the MLS, okay? So hopefully you're not working with any clients who want that, because that's not a good situation. Okay, so moving down, we're going to go down to section 11. This is a conditional termination. Okay, this is in the case that the seller says, hey, you know what, this isn't working out. I don't want you to be my listing agent anymore. I want to cancel the contract. Okay, hey, that's not cool. I put in all this money. I spent all this money on marketing. I spent $1,000 on staging furniture, all those aerial drone photos that I did. I'm going to need to get reimbursed for that, right? So and this is something that you're going to talk about with the seller, so there's no surprises, right? And when you're going over this listing agreement with them, you want to make sure you specifically go over this section. Hey seller, just in case you know, I just want you to know, if you cancel this contract with me, right, it's going to cost you $4,000. Okay, because that's how much money I personally am going to put into this, all right? Or maybe or money, time, and effort I'm going to put into this, okay? So just know, before we go into this, if you do want to cancel, it will cost you a nice $4,000. This is interesting here, dispute resolution. Sometimes there, unfortunately, are disputes between the listing agent and their clients. And this, by initialing here, you are both agreeing to have your dispute settled by an arbitrator, okay, a neutral arbitrator. That will make things quicker and keep things out of court. And it's something that I think is actually a smart thing to do. And yeah, that's pretty much that there. Moving down, pretty much coming to the end here, guys. This is just some miscellaneous language here. No need to go over that right now. Additional terms, if there was any additional terms. Additional terms, what might be some additional terms? If there was any additional terms, you would want to put that here, okay? Any sort of discounts or bonuses that might be offered, you would want to include that here. Maybe something else that I can't think of. Anything, I guess, additional would be added here. All right, see what I did there? All right, so guys, make sure you get the signature. All right, seller needs to sign. Once you get that John Hancock, once you get that signature, you now have a listing. Congratulations, by the way, if you do. And I wish you a lot of success in your future endeavors. And yeah, make sure you don't forget, you have to sign yourself, guys, too, down here on line 189, line 188, and the company name on line 189. All right. And don't forget the company address on 190. All right. That about wraps it up. Thank you guys for joining us. Please subscribe to our station. Okay. There's a lot of useful information here, and hope to see you again. Thank you very much.